Okay, so welcome to today's workout where all you're gonna need is a chair or a stool, and I've just got another lounge room cushion. So nice and easy, we're gonna sit on the cushion to start with. That's just to elevate your hips and give you a little bit more room through the pelvis and your hips. We're just gonna sit cross-legged or whatever feels more comfortable to you. And we're gonna start with a few big breaths. So when you take a breath in, I want you to think about expanding through your belly and your rib cage, and then exhale and let things come a little bit closer together. So big breath in and exhale. I used to think doing big breaths was a bit hokey pokey and just sort of, a bit out there. But what I'm noticing is when I'm feeling stressed or I've had an emotional day or I'm just really busy, I feel like when I breathe, I can't actually move my trunk. So get your hands on your rib cage. Again, take a breath in. You should feel things get bigger. Exhale, they should get smaller. Now, don't worry about how many fat rolls you have or if you can't feel anything moving. Get your hands in there and try to actually feel movement against your own hands. Get that tactile feedback. So breathe in, pushing out so your hands get wider. And then exhale, they should come closer together. Now this is just one of the ways that you can practice it. We're gonna do 3 more big breaths together. I just want you to have this in mind. So we'll do it together and then we will move on, but you can come back to this later. And then last one. Now, even though we only did about 5 or 6 big breaths in total, each one I could feel things just start to relax a little bit more. Now, we're gonna go on to our backs and you're gonna elevate your hips on top of your cushion. So, lying on your back, bum up, get that cushion underneath. That's just gonna give you some height at your hips. So with the hips up, bottoms of your feet together, let your knees fall out to the side. So we're gonna practice our breath from this position again. So I'm gonna put one hand on my upper right sort of side rib, left hand on my lower belly. Both these areas, I wanna feel expand with the breath in. If you need to readjust where that pillow is, go for it. So you can shimmy it down a little bit more if that's more comfortable for your lower back. The goal is that we open up through the hips and we start to feel like our body is just relaxing and letting go of tension. So 3 more big breaths. I'm just gonna swap my hands so my left hand is on my left ribs, right hand, lower abdominal. 2 more. Good. All right, so now I'm going to slowly walk my feet apart, bring my knees in together, and then let your knees touch and walk your feet wider. So if I'm centered on my yoga mat, I can feel my feet come off the yoga mat and my knees are pulling towards each other. So this is putting our hips into internal rotation. This can feel quite good on your lower back. You might want to give a little shimmy and then come back. Like so. Have a look at your knees if you can, and if you can see your feet as well. So sometimes one foot might go a lot wider than the other. Try to keep them as even as possible. And we'll do the same breath. Good. Now, in this position with our legs, our thighs rotating inwards, this can be met with a lot of resistance. So, again, not a bad thing. It's always good to get feedback. But if you're noticing that it's really hard to get your knees together with your feet walking out, make sure your feet aren't too wide. Just go to what feels comfortable. And just take notice of how that feels. So this is quite common if we have a very tight pelvic floor or we've got pelvic floor symptoms. Tightness is going to play a role in it, and holding tension will most likely play a role. If this range feels quite restricted, this is a good starting point for a stretch and some areas to focus on to open it up to help with that pelvic floor function. So 2 more breaths. And last one. Now, slowly bring the knees apart, walk your feet together, and then we're going to pull one knee into our chest and straighten the other one down. So I've still got the cushion underneath my hips. This, again, just gives us a little bit more room to play with in our ranges. So when I bring my knee in, my other leg pushing my calf towards the floor, and we'll try 2 big breaths from here. So just working on opening and relaxing through the hips. And 1 more big breath. And then we're going to slowly change legs. So once we're in that stretch, take a breath in. And 1 more. Now, quite often, just that little combo of what we've just done can feel quite good through the rest of the body. So if you've had a long day or a busy day, lots of driving, lots of time at your desk, all of that combined can help feel quite good to just release through the hips and give you a bit more range and a little bit more freedom throughout those positions. Now, so we're going to stay on our backs actually. Grab your cushion, and then we're going to go through some glute bridges, but with our core activation. So we're using the cushion. If you've got a Pilates ball, you can use that as well. My little guy's got little soft bouncy balls all over the house, so quite often I just grab one of those. So we're going to be on our backs, knees bent 90 degrees, and we're going to put the cushion between our knees. So not a huge squeeze, but enough of a squeeze that we can feel a bit of work happening through the inner thighs. That's going to be the goal. So the first thing we're going to do is take a nice big breath in. Everything relaxes, almost like you're going to drop the pillow. And then I want you to exhale and gently squeeze that pillow. So we're not doing the glute bridge just yet. We're just going to work on this deep core activation. So take a breath in. Our belly and ribs get bigger. And then when we exhale, gently squeeze the cushion. As we squeeze gently on our knees to that cushion, you want to feel that lift in the pelvic floor. So some analogies that you've probably heard of is when you sort of suck a blueberry up a straw. So the straw being your vagina and you're pulling that blueberry up. That's sort of the visual sensation that I want you to have. I tend to use that in most positions. When you're lying on your back, I find you got to keep remembering you're lifting up towards your opening to your belly button to the ribs. You're not lifting up to the ceiling, but you're lifting up towards your head along your body. So again, take a breath in. Exhale. Gently squeeze. As we squeeze, we get that pelvic floor lift. Let's do it 3 more times. And 1 more big breath in. And exhale. Good. All right, so now we're going to keep this pillow between our knees. We're going to add our glute bridge. So the breath in stays the same, everything's slightly relaxed. As we exhale, start to squeeze that cushion, and then tailbone tuck, squeeze the glutes up and lowering back down. Now the glute bridge doesn't have to be huge. Think about just using your glutes, get your butt off the ground, and then lowering back down. As we get a little bit more into it, you can go a bit higher. You don't want to feel it in your lower back, so that's what we're trying to hopefully avoid. So deep breath in, exhale. As we squeeze that cushion, squeeze those glutes and come up, and lowering back down. Good. Try your best to combine this all together. If you're a bit confused, just work on the inhale and then exhale, squeeze and lift. The rest will fall into place. Good. And exhale. Nice. Okay, we'll do 4 more. Good. And then our last one, take a nice breath in and exhale. Good. And down. Now, again, that cushion between the knees is just to help build that association of adductors engaged with that pelvic floor. Again, it can sound quite confusing. The more you practice it, the better it gets, and it just becomes more automatic. Now, we're going to change positions on this one because this is one of my favorite ways to train for our pelvic floor co-contractions and getting that core activated. So we're going to come onto all fours and then down to our elbows. I'm going to keep the pillow nearby. I'm actually going to put it between my knees right away. So from this position, coming down to the elbows, my glutes are nice and high in the sky. Toes are tucked under. I'm going to take a deep breath in. I'm just going to double check my notes. Yeah. And then on that exhale, you still get that squeeze of the cushion. So my cushion's a bit big. This looks a bit awkward. That is totally fine. I don't care. It's doing the job. So take a breath in. So everything expands and relaxes. And then exhale. So you get that squeeze of the cushion, so your knees are coming together, and that blueberry lift through the openings. So that sort of co-contraction with your adductors squeezing the pillow and your deep core muscles lifting the pelvic floor. 4 more big breaths. Inhale, exhale. So on that exhale, squeeze and lift the pelvic floor. Good. Inhale, relax, let your belly hang out, let that cushion sort of relax. And exhale. Good. And one more time. Nice. All right. So things should be starting to feel like we are getting things warmed up. Things are starting to feel like they're ready for a workout. So that is a great way to sort of get started with a lot of our sessions, just to bring awareness to the breath and get our core sort of started. Now, I do have a chair nearby because we're going to use it for one of the exercises, not until a little later on. The first exercise we're going to start with is a lateral lunge. So we're going to stand just in a nice wide stance. There's a million ways that you can do lateral lunges. The reason why we're doing them today is because there is a very high association with adductor length and strength, our pelvic floor, and then our glute strength as well. So they're quite often neglected. So we're just going to start in a wide stance because we want to work on one part of this lateral lunge. We're not going to combine it and make it very complicated. So nice and wide. And then what we're going to do is lean over to one side. Think about stretching out your adductor, so that inner thigh, and you want to stick your butt out behind you and then coming back up. So I'm going to my right side, it'd be your left, I believe. Lean into that side, keep that other leg straight, and then pressing through the heel. So I'm just going to go sideways to show you one of them. So in that side position, we're really reaching your hips back and then squeeze that glute to come up. So reach your hip back, stretching out your opposite inner thigh, squeeze that glute up. We're going to do 2 more. I'm just going to go back to the front view. So leaning over to that one side, squeeze that glute as you come up. I can actively feel my butt cheek in my shorts, squeezing before I come up out of it. All right, now we're going to go over to the other side. So shifting over to the other side, stretching out your other inner thigh, squeeze the other heel, squeeze the other glute and come up. And up. Good. So this might feel more of a stretch as opposed to fatigue. That is okay. You might feel these tomorrow. That's all right as well. So side and then squeeze that glute to come up. Good. Okay, and we're going to do one more. So again, we're loading that one side, squeeze that glute and up. All right, now we're going to do one set. So it's an inchworm, 6 kneeling push-ups, and then coming back. So not horrendous. Inchworms are not my favorite thing to do. Very productive. So you're going to crawl down to the mat. So walk your hands down to the floor. Bend the knees as you need to. And try to get 5 or 6 handprints as you walk out to a plank. Drop down to your knees. 6 push-ups. Excellent. Last one. When you finish that push-up, tuck your toes, lift your knees, and then 5 or 6 handprints walking back to the toes. See? Not too bad. Maybe not your favorite thing, but that was it. So now we're going to go again. Nice wide stance. So this time with the lateral lunge, we're going to lunge over to that side. We're going to add a heel raise. Put your foot back down and come up. So just adding a little bit of a different component to it. Some foot, toe, and ankle mobility. So load that side, lift the heel, put it back down, and coming up. So 8 in total. Got 6 more. And up. Again, if your balance is quite off, feel free to turn around, face a wall, hands on the wall while you do this. That is okay. So adding that heel raise also adds more time that we are loaded on that side. You might start to feel the fatigue setting in now. 3 more. And that's still a nice stretch in that opposite side. And up. All right, over to the other side now. So we're loading up, down, and good. Good. Now, as you do these, you might notice that inner thighs start to release a little bit. As they get stretched and work, that's a very common thing that happens, is your body goes, oh, actually, we're okay in this position. We can release a bit. So last one, and up. Excellent. I'm going to do my inchworm from the other side this time. So crawling down, 5 or 6 handprints on the floor. Pause in that plank, down to the knees. 6 push-ups. They don't have to go all the way to the ground. And last one, tuck your toes, lift the knees, and walk it back to your feet. Excellent. All right. For our third set, we're just going to go back to basics. We're going to keep our feet nice and flat, and we're going to do 8 to each side for those lunges. So lean into that one side. Think about really loading through that glute. Squeeze it. Come up. If it's comfortable, feel free to go a little bit lower into that knee and hip flexion. If it's not, don't force it. And over to the other side. So come across. Okay, and then last one. Good. Excellent. One more set of the inchworms as well. So, crawling down. It's important to make sure you enjoy those 5 or 6 handprints nice and slow. Don't rush it. Down to the knees and 6 push-ups. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, and walk them back and up. Excellent. All right, so the first part is complete. Now we're going to go into the second phase, 2 more exercises that are sort of full body encompassing. I might put my pillow on my chair. So we're going to use the chair for your back leg. So it's what we call a Bulgarian lunge, Bulgarian split squat. There's a million different variations, so this is just what we're doing today. So I'm going to take a step forward, hang on to the wall if you need to for balance, and your back foot is going to go up on the chair. Now, I like my back foot pointed down, so it's kind of more relaxed and I can't use it as much. And then my opposite hand is going to reach for the floor as I lunge down. So down to tap the floor and up. We're going for 8. So you're lunging down, but you're also hinging at your hip a little bit. So it's a bit of a forward lean. Okay, 2 more. Excellent. And then look at where your foot is. Try to stand right beside it with your other foot, so you're the same distance away when you do the other side. And 8. Okay, and 2 more. So we should be feeling those glutes really getting fired up. Good, and shake them out. Now I'm going to grab my cushion for the next one as well. We'll just place it in the middle of the mat. And we're going to go into a single arm, so like a single arm, single leg windmill. So on one knee, other leg is straight out to the side. This leg is nice and light, so we're not transferring our weight over onto it. Keep your weight onto that supporting knee. Whichever knee you're on, that hand reaches for the floor, other hand to the sky, side bend, tap the floor with this bottom hand, the other hand stays facing the ceiling, come straight back up to the start position. So I call this a half kneeling windmill. It's a variation of the old windmill. Lots going on. Keep it simple. Tap the ground with that hand and come back up. Try not to put all your weight on that hand and hang out there for too long. The side obliques here should be very active. So lots of side body, trunk rotation, and core work happening all together. A little sneaky bit of glutes on this one as well. So you might not feel it straight away. Again, you might feel it tomorrow. Okay, and then last one. Bring that arm down, leg in, and we'll switch sides. So the cushion is just to add a little bit of cushion for my knee. That's it. You don't need it. Yeah, see how you feel comfort-wise. Sit down and then straight back up. So bottom arm reaching pretty close to that supporting knee. You don't need to be too far away. And up. It's nice and gentle as well. So don't put your whole hand down. Sort of rest down. Your trunk is doing the work. You're not pushing off of that bottom hand. Good. Now this is a great one if you find that your lower back tends to take over and do all the work. In this position, we want to feel our side obliques and maybe some side glutes. So if you find your back is doing it all, put something here so you're not going as far to the ground. You're only doing about half of it until it starts to feel a bit less in your back. And then add a bit more of that depth. So last one, and then gently come up, arm down, and then up to your feet. Grab some water if you'd like. I'm going to put the cushion back on my chair, and we're going to go for our second round of the split squats. So 1 foot in front, Toe nice and rested on the back of that chair, and 8 reps. So I'm reaching with my opposite to the front foot, opposite hand to the front foot, I should say. Good. Now a little sneaky tip, I like to put my other fingertips right on my butt cheek and feel that glute muscle switching on as I come up. So it takes a bit of practice, but you should feel some movement down there. I don't care how much tissue is in the way, you should feel something. Get up close and personal with your butt cheek. We'll switch sides. Good. Tangible feedback can be the best. So fingertip in your butt and feel it working as you come up. Again, if the floor feels really far away, put something down like a yoga block or a box of tissues. That'll just buy you a bit of height. It's still effective, even if you don't get all the way down. Okay, 3 more. And up. Excellent. All right. And then back down for our windmills again. So one leg straight out, arm up to the sky, slowly reach, tap, and up. We'll go for 8. If it's feeling easy, try to do full flat palm on the ground as long as you're not pushing off of those hands. So it's nice and gentle. Your trunk is doing the work. Okay, and then last one. Bring that arm down. Good. Knee in. Swap it over. Nice long straight leg. Arm up and go. And then last one. Beautiful. All right, bring it down and we're going to go for our 3rd set. So nice and repetitive. Just going to switch one small thing. Good. All right, so that nice reach forward, toes down on the back, and 8. Okay, and then last one. Good. Okay, and then last one on that side. Excellent. All right, last set of the windmills as well. So the 3rd set is where the magic happens. So a bit more fatigue is going to set in. And we'll kind of see how the body is holding up. So this is a subtle movement. Again, palm flat if you want a bit more of a challenge, or put something here so you're not going quite as far down. So reaching close to that supporting knee and then back up. Remember, the legs aren't doing the work. This leg is nice and light on the floor. Freer now that we've done quite a few, but I feel like I'm going to start to go because I'm getting a bit tired. Okay, and then last one. Beautiful. Bring the arm down, switch it over. Arm up to the sky again, side leg nice and straight, but light on the touch. So last 2. Good. and down. Excellent. All right, slowly coming up. I'm just going to move this out of the way. We don't need it. All right, so grab a sip of water if you'd like. The last little bit is our conditioning component. So not too heavy, just enough to get the heart rate up, get the feet challenged, get the legs and knees and ankles and everything prepped for plyometrics and more impact later on. Everyone seems to be afraid of impact movements. They are a part of life, so we should be training them. Now this is a good sort of leeway into it. I don't want you to be afraid of it. I am gonna grab my glasses case. How about that? So I'm gonna put it in the middle of my mat. This is gonna be my little target. So you can use anything. You can put a sock down, you can put the remote control, you can have just an invisible line. I find something makes this a bit more sort of challenging in a weird way. So we're gonna do 30 seconds, and all you're going to do is jump over your object. So yoga blocks are great, they're just a bit bigger, so some people get a little bit more hesitant. Not a big deal. Again, put a sock, put a pen, whatever you want, and we're gonna do 30 seconds. So we're gonna start in 3, 2, and go. So hopping over, and it's just for 30 seconds. Again, we're not going for speed or height, just get over and back. So if the jumping doesn't feel great, you can literally just do quick steps over like so. Okay, so something that's just out of our usual. And 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. So 15-second rest, and then we're going to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to move this just over here. Slight split stance, okay? And we're just going to do a little hop and switch like so. So again, we're not trying to break any rules, any records, not trying to smash through your ceiling. Go at your own pace to a certain degree. 3, 2, and go. So just a small little switch. So it's almost like you're running on the spot in a really weird way. So 8 seconds. And last one. Good. All right, 15 seconds rest, and that is all we're gonna do. So, well, not all, we're gonna do it again, but that's all you need to remember. So I'm just gonna start on the other side. It's the exact same exercise. I find it helps just to change it up a tiny bit. So 3, 2, and go. So hop over. So again, nice and simple, just keep it consistent, and that lateral movement, we don't do that in our everyday life. So it's nice to keep that in our routine. And rest, good. So 15 seconds rest, and we'll go back to the little switches. If you need to, feel free to hold on to a wall or a chair that's in front of you. So getting into position. 3, 2, and go. So nice little hops. Five seconds. And rest, good. Okay, 15 seconds break. And we do everything one more time. All right, we'll go in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Last 3. And rest. Good. All right, one more set of the switches and then a quick stretch and you are done. So I'm just going to change my direction. And our last one. 3, 2, and go. Last one, and done. Excellent. All right, so grab a sip of water. I'm going to finish up on the mat nice and easy. So just a quick little stretch to finish you off on your back. Arms out to the side. So it's wherever's comfortable, sort of out from your chest, out from your shoulders. Okay, and we're gonna cross one ankle over the knee. So I've got my right ankle over my left knee. Keeping my elbows on the ground, I'm gonna drop my knee over to the left. Trying to keep my opposite right shoulder and elbow on the ground. Every exhale, try to relax into it a little bit more. So if your foot can get to the ground, great. If not, try to just keep that breath and it'll go gradually closer and closer. So one more big breath. And bring it back to center. And we're going to cross legs the other way. I'm just going to move over a little bit. So now it's my left ankle over my right knee, and I'm going to let my legs fall towards the right while trying to keep my left shoulder and elbow on the ground. So again, do the best you can. Usually one side is a lot tighter than the other. Use those exhales to let gravity pull you down. Good. All right, now unhook your feet back to center. Slowly roll yourself over and coming up to the middle. All right, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the workout. It's setting you up for a great day or winding you down after a long day. Any comments or feedback or questions, please don't be shy and reach out. Let me know. You can modify certain things or I can give you some alternatives. All right, we'll see you next time.